Hey gang, David Gupple, Thinker Farmer here. It's second to last day of July 2022, and this evening, it's a Saturday evening, I'm at the Greg Judy Scott house, the B&B. It's got a beautiful white oak tree in the front. It's shady and just really nice evening. Anyway, first of all, an apology to my mom. I'm sorry I'm wearing a ratty shirt. I came over here to do some weed eating and didn't bring a clean shirt, but it was the time to take a video, so please be understanding. I'm just working today, so pardon it. Anyway, today I want to talk about the value of failure. So that's a strange topic to talk about. In our culture today, people are averse and reluctant to fail. Failure has a negative connotation. If you fail, that must mean you're not good. That must mean you didn't put in the time or the effort. And I wanted to focus today on the incredible value of failure. And I'll explain what I mean through the rest of this video and maybe a second one. I was a musician through high school. I've posted now 1 or 2 videos. And I got really good playing music, and a lot of people commented on how skilled I was, and the reality of it was all of my skill as a pianist was the result of me being willing to fail repetitively as I practiced towards a desired outcome or a goal, which was a beautiful, perfect piece, essentially, of music that I could play. And the reality of it is I would try 1,000 times to get good at a piece of music. And every time I would do it, I'd be working at something different in the piece, but you would play it over and over again, and sometimes take it apart piece by piece until you got good at it. And eventually, after repeated failures, you would learn what you were doing wrong, and you would improve until eventually, even if you made a mistake, you could counterbalance it and come back from it. And my piano teacher, Miss Dottie, always told me, David, if you give up, there's no chance. If you give up, that's it. There's no potential for anything to happen. As long as you keep on trying, there's hope for you. And Miss Dottie is now in her late 80s. I went to see her in a nursing home, and she asked how I was doing, and after I told her, she said, well, whatever you're facing, and if you don't know how to do it in life, and you got somewhere you know God wants you to be, or something you need to accomplish, and you don't know how to get there, you just need to keep trying. Eventually you'll get there. And it's a lesson that we have to learn again and again in life, that just because you fall down doesn't mean it's the end of the world. And I've had several years of experience as a mechanic, and that's one situation where failures can be very costly. If you have a 100-step task to perform on a machine, say overhauling the engine or putting a clutch in the tractor, where you have to split the tractor in 2 to get inside to the componentry, and there's a whole bunch of steps, and you skip or fail to properly complete 1 step in 100 of those steps, you don't get 99% credit, you get 0% credit, and you have to do the job over again from the start. And that's very frustrating and can be very costly. 1 minute of careful attention to detail might end up saving you 8 hours of work. As you get better as a mechanic, you learn what's critical, and you learn where you can fudge a little things, and where the things that really matter. Certain things that you do as a mechanic don't have to be done perfectly. Other things, you've got to do it just right, especially when you get into more complicated procedures like engine breakdowns, where you're putting in new sleeves or putting in new bearings. There's some things about mechanics that are serious, but whether or not you, you name it. You can tighten an oil filter, and you can tighten it by hand, and it'll be fine. You could put a wrench on it and tighten it just a little more. You'd still be fine. Are there limits? Yes, there are. But certain tasks as a mechanic are very simple and very easy. Others require a lot more attention to detail. And being a mechanic like that, it teaches you to assess the cost of a failure. So going into a situation as you're looking ahead on your farm and you're about to try something, you need to assess what will be the cost of your failure. You don't want to base your life on all the what ifs of what might go wrong, but you do need to, before you just jump in and start doing things, not really knowing what's going to happen, know what the cost of failure is. If you decide to invest $100,000 worth of money in something you don't know will work, well, what if that thing doesn't work? What's the cost you've got in it? The emotional cost, the financial cost, the interrelational cost in your family or friends if it doesn't work. You need to know what is the cost of your failure. And the reality is, in mechanics, one step messed up, you're in trouble if it's a critical step. In farming, generally, things are not so systematized as they are in mechanics. And so there's more forgiveness if you don't do things exactly in order. There are exceptions to that, but generally, you can, if you're going to move the cows, you can move the cows and move their mineral first and go spend 10, 15 minutes if it's not a really hot day, and go clean brush along a fence line, and then come back and move the water. And the cows won't care. They were hydrated. They're busy eating grass. You should have done the water before the mineral. But certain times, essentially farming is way more forgiving than other jobs, because you don't have to be as systematized, and there's way more, nature's just more forgiving. Machines, they don't forgive. You fail to complete a step properly, the machine can't compensate. I'm going to check my time now, just see how the video is progressing. Okay, I kind of need to wrap it up. So in conclusion, and I will do a part 2 to this video on the value of failure, because I think it's a really important thing to discuss. You don't need to be afraid of error or mistakes, because mistakes are the precursor to innovation. And this is one of the reasons you must fail in life if you're ever going to do anything. If you're never failing in life, then you're never trying. Albert Einstein said, "He who never makes mistakes has never tried anything new." And the way it works is, when you choose to step out on a limb and take a chance on something and allow yourself to make mistakes, you're taking a risk. Well, the error and risk go together, and when you take risk, you're allowing an opportunity for potential. So, a mistake that you make is all part of taking a risk. A risk in life is always, risks just come with potential. There's danger with them, but there's also tremendous reward. There's tremendous potential for something great to happen. And when you have, once you have some potential, whatever it may be, I'm speaking a little hypothetical here. I probably need to give an example, but you're going to get innovation. You go out on a limb to do something for someone else, maybe a friend. There's a risk there, maybe with the relationship. Maybe it's correcting a coworker on a problem they have. You're concerned that you're going to make a mistake as you seek to correct them. But when you take the risk, there's also potential for change and improvement. And so it really just does all the world good for you and for other people to go ahead and fail in life, or be willing to fail. And in the next video, I'll go ahead and explain precisely what I mean by that in more detail. Alrighty, gang, have a good evening.